You only know
With your,
Miker, okay.
ow, you hear it in my ears with your mic.
When's
Uh,
Lobster gonna get his mic though?
ah,
Oh, lobster
Because
no,
mic.
but
Oh yes.
Lobster, you
Maverick,
said I was gonna be the
you know, it'd
first
be
one to hear
funny.
your
You know, it'd be
voice.
funny if like reverse grid order, but
Please.
in terms of driver championship. So if you're first in the championship,
Ah,
you start at
yeah, something like that would be interesting. But anyway, guys, so
oh
welcome
fuck,
Really.
to community meeting for
no
season
one cares.
13. Right,
No
Ben.
one cares.
Okay, so
No.
can everyone that is not FIA please mute your mics while we are in the meeting? We will
Give me a
have
second.
a little bit of question time at the end. Okay, so that includes you, Irish. Yeah, exactly.
What?
So
What's the new
welcome
name?
to the meeting, everyone, and welcome to season 13. Hopefully, you're all hyped for yet another season to start within LCR. Um, I am very excited that yet again, after the success that was season 12, to be announcing season 13. So, first of all, let's have a look at what the agenda is for tonight. So, what we're going to look at is we're going to present your FIA Season 13 team. We'll go through all of that with you. We'll have a look at the calendar, which was confirmed tonight. Take a look at the league format, rulebook and penalty updates, and then we will open up the sign-ups for season 13. So this is your FIA for season 13. There are 10 of us in total. If at any point you have questions relating to the season or so on and so forth, you can contact any one of us. We're the people with the dark blue names. We've done a little bit of a tidy up. You may have noticed that some members that were previously FIA, have had their FIA rule removed. That is simply because they have decided to step down, or have been a little bit inactive. So we agreed with them that they would, have the FIA member removed for now, so that anyone that has the blue FIA role, is highly active, and will be able to answer your questions. So that
Maverick,
is
can I
the
just?
reason for that. I'll take questions at the end, if you
No,
don't mind.
it's regarding the thing with lobster because I need to go now, so and I might forget about it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit of a thing. If you're sideways on
I'll talk about
where
PC
the pit
to you
stop is,
later. Message it to me.
yeah.
There's a
Also,
different
you sound
IP.
like a overly sarcastic dad trying to get his son to do fishing.
Ha! Yeah.
Alright, see ya.
Thanks, Irish. Cheerio.
Bye.
So okay, that is your FIA then for this season. Also, we're announcing the steward role. We're going to be working on this, over the coming week to see what members will fit into this role. If you think you are someone that could help out the FIA with the running of the league, please message one of your FIA members, and then we can consider giving you the steward role, which we're going to be using to help us, with the general running of the league. The FIA will be the main decision makers, and we'll make sure that the overall running of the league is keeps running smoothly. And this is to take away, some of the work, the help, like for intro videos, gathering screenshots, etc., etc., the managing of the TikTok and the Instagram, etc. That can all then be managed via these stewards, which allows then the FIA to do the overall management, and it just helps us all then bring a better league to you, and that's what we want at the end of the day. Okay. So this is the calendar then for season 13. Hopefully, this gets everyone a little bit excited. We're going to do Britain and Baku for week 1. The dates and so on and so forth will be confirmed in the calendar channel. But essentially, it'll be starting on the 25th of March and then running from that. So week 1 is going to be Britain and Azerbaijan. Week 2, Canada, then France. Week 3, Belgium and Australia. Australia then matches up with the real Australian Grand Prix. Week 4 will be Singapore and Italy. Week 5 then Mexico and Abu Dhabi to round out season 13. So quite an electric end to the season. So, format for season 13 will remain much the same. D1 will be 9 o'clock CET on Saturday and Sunday. D2, 7 o'clock, so 2 hours before D1. That is much the same. It is identical to the previous seasons. D3 then will also be on the Friday evening. It will run 2 back-to-back 25% races on the Friday evening from 7 p.m. Okay, so no changes there to how the scheduling will work. So rulebook updates then, we'll just run through what has changed for this season and what to look out for. So point 5 within the rulebook has been updated. There were a few instances last season where drivers, allowed their wing to drop behind the other driver and then re-overtook them during an illegal overtake. Now, if you're deemed to have made an illegal overtake, or you think you've made an illegal overtake, you will need to be behind the other car fully, and remain there for a full corner before you can attack again. So bear that in mind, that you're going to have to make sure that the other car is fully in front. Otherwise, it will still be deemed an illegal overtake. Going side by side through the next corner is not sufficient to have completely allowed the other car past. So bear that in mind. Point 6 then has been updated to define when a 10-second penalty will be applied. So hopefully that helps with players that got a little bit confused when a 10-second penalty would be applied. So generally, if the contact just results in the player slightly spinning and then being able to correct the car again, or it's just a very light tap that pushes the other driver wide, that will result in a 5-second penalty. If the other driver spins more than 90 degrees or gets wing damage, it will be a 10-second penalty regardless. So bear that in mind. Okay. Collisions during safety car and VSC. So this is going to be quite a massive change for this season. We're changing when penalties are removed under safety car. So normally what we would do is the driver that did not cause the collision, their penalty gets removed no matter what. The other driver keeps their penalty. For this season, what we're doing is if you serve the penalty, it will not be removed. I know that is unfair to the driver that does get the penalty, but unfortunately, if we remove that 5-second penalty, it does cause a lot of problems for race results at the end. It is too much of an advantage. So to help balance that out so that we should see less of this happening, if you cause a 5-second penalty for contact under safety car and VSC, you will get an additional 5 seconds from the FIA. So you will have to serve your 5 seconds the game gives you, plus an additional 5 seconds from the FIA. So everyone is going to have to be 10 times more careful under safety car and VSC to not get a penalty. It is your responsibility to make sure you do not make contact under safety car. Okay, there is no reason to be right up behind someone's gearbox. If you do that, you run the risk of getting a penalty. Okay. So a small update to sandbagging. So we changed one of the rules that I think there was a little bit of misinterpretation of what it quite meant and what the intention behind it was. We've changed pitting for to putting on the incorrect tires. What this means is that if a driver puts on enters when it is clearly dry or wet, if it is clearly dry, or if a driver puts on dry tires when it is clearly wet, then you will be penalized. That does not count for if you make a mistake during the race. If you make a genuine mistake, that is understood. You know, we all do it at times. But if you intentionally put on the incorrect tires when it is clearly the incorrect conditions, then you will get a severe penalty. Okay, so bear that in mind. So the updates to the penalties then, we have added a 3-second time penalty for this season. This is going to be used for the very minor stuff, like for example being late to a briefing. We'll get a 3-second time penalty. Also, the penalty points are now separated. So before, if you got a 5-second penalty, you would also get a penalty point. 10-second penalty would be 2. We've separated that. So if you at some point get a time penalty, it does not necessarily mean you will get a penalty point. Penalty points will be reserved for if you screw up someone's day. If you ruin someone's race, you'll get penalty points, and then that will mean disqualification. If you only screw up your own day, then you'll just get time penalties. So that's why we've separated those two. It means then that if you're getting penalty points, it's because you've ruined someone's race. And ultimately, we're here to have a good time and to enjoy ourselves. So if you're screwing up someone's race, then that's where we're going to use those penalty points. I think I've said the same thing 3 times, but yeah, there you go. Anyway, so further rulebook updates. D1 for this season will be using full damage instead of reduced. So that is going to be extremely spicy. The intention behind this is that hopefully then people will look after their front wing a little bit more and be more careful, because you can't just dive bomb into a corner because you're going to get your front wing wiped off. Simple as that. So you need to make sure when you're making an overtake that it is a nice clean overtake. Otherwise, you're just going to end up with damage. Plus, bear in mind as well, if you do spin someone out, or if you do make contact with someone, it is highly more likely you will give them damage, and so a lot more likely that you will get a 10-second penalty for contact with someone. D2 and D3 will remain unchanged, and they will be under reduced damage, at least for now. Okay, put a pin in that for the next season, but for now, they will use reduced damage. Championship settings. So now, to be eligible for a promotion to a higher division, you must have the lowest number of penalty points, preferably 0. If you have more penalty points than another driver and they get promoted before you, well, that sucks. Now the FIA will be looking at penalty points first before we promote you to a higher division. Okay, that means that the cleanest drivers will get promotion before the drivers that are first in the championship. Because ultimately, what we want to do here is we want to promote clean racing. That is the intention of this league. Okay, we all want to be here to enjoy racing, and we all want to be speedy boys. I know we do, but ruining someone else's race is not acceptable. We're all here to enjoy ourselves, and we're all here to have nice, clean racing. So that's why the intention behind the promotion system will now be that we promote the cleanest players. And then only if there is a draw for penalty points will the championship position be taken into account. So, basically, that is it from me. FIA, does anyone else have any more points that they think I have missed? Just give it a second.
No, not really.
You're happy? Any other
Yeah.
FIA members want to raise anything or think we're okay?
No, we're
Okay.
good.
Let's open up then for questions from the floor. So, if is there anyone that has any questions? Um, Aleco, if you get 5 points in the first race, then no, you would not be able to be promoted. Um, because but if you were clean later in the season, maybe if other people were to get more points. But you've gotta be if you want promotion, you gotta be racing clean. Okay.
Lobster has a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Lobster.
And so he says, if time penalties are separated from penalty points, couldn't the threshold for getting a DSQ be lowered?
Potentially, but the way the rules will be applied, they will be much the same as the way they were applied the previous season anyway. We're going to keep it the same for now, because if you spin someone out, that's still going to be 2 penalty points. If you tap someone or push someone wide, that's still going to be 1 penalty point. It just means that you won't be getting closer to a DSQ for like being late to the briefing. There's a few times last season where someone was late to the briefing and that disqualified them, which we thought was a little bit unfair. They'll still get a time penalty in the race, so you should still attend the briefings as early as possible. But at least you won't be disqualified just for being late. Snatch also has a question here about reset the track. That's a very good point. That is a major change for this season too. So originally reset the track was an instant disqualification. We have relaxed that for this season. There was an instance where a driver was sideways in the Russian pit lane, and they had two choices: stay there and be disqualified by the game, reset the track and be disqualified by us, and that's not fair. So what we've done for this season is if you use reset the track, it will be a 10-second penalty with no penalty points. So if you need to use it, you can, but it's still not beneficial enough to use it in all scenarios. In France, it's probably better just to flick the car around and keep going. Whereas in Castle Section and Baku, it's probably a good idea to reset the track. So at least then it's something that it doesn't give us the scenario where you're stuck being disqualified no matter what you do, because I think that's unfair. Now, obviously, if you reset the track and cause someone else damage, then that will be a separate incident that you will get penalty points for.
So Voidke asked, there's no way to not serve a 5-second game penalty if you make a pit stop, right? Yeah, there is.
Correct.
No way
Yes.
to
Yep,
turn
correct.
that off.
So, yeah, you
does
cannot
automatically.
ask the game not to. So, if you still need to make a pit stop, yep, you're kind of screwed. That is completely understood. But for example, if a driver gets spun around, there's no way we can remove that race time. So, yep, it is a little bit unfair, but it's even more unfair to have a 5-second penalty removed and for you to jump above someone that you shouldn't have jumped above. There was a few race results last season. I personally had what I felt was a really good win taken away from me because of another person's 5-second penalty. They might have still passed me, yep, but I had no chance to actually race them. It was not a very good feeling, so we want to kind of prevent that.
Yes.
Okay. I think I have one more here. Don't worry, the calendar will be uploaded. Snatch asks, can we send the calendar? Yeah, we'll upload the calendar right after this race. We just confirmed race meeting.
This briefing.
Yeah.
I said briefing.
Yeah. After the briefing, yeah.
Meeting, yes.
Yeah. Okay, guys, briefing. I'll upload it right after here. It's just we've just literally just confirmed it, so I need to pick all the dates up before we upload it. Okay. Yeah, Adleco has another question. Go ahead.
Yes, can you restart the briefing? Because I just arrived.
Yeah, so welcome guys to season 13. Don't worry, Bev. It's all
I joke, I
recorded.
joke, I joke.
Yeah, no worries. It's all recorded, so if you want to watch it back, then it will be on YouTube. Okay.
Okay,
Can you
great,
show
great.
the calendar, please?
Yeah,
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 okay.
Yeah,
cool.
put the calendar up.
Yep.
All right, so Kirienka has a
True,
question about
let's
it.
go.
So we chose some tracks from the vote. Was it four? Four or
Yeah,
five?
full voted.
Four voted.
Yeah.
Then we chose a couple random and a couple chose by the FAA to prevent the same tracks being
Mm-hmm.
picked every season.
Uh,
So we have
How you
some
choose
changes.
Abu Dhabi? How you choose Abu Dhabi, guys?
It was
Abu Dhabi
Was it
was one
in
of
the
the voted
random?
ones. Yeah.
Oh,
How
was
it
was it
happens?
voted?
I think it was
I don't think it was.
I
I
mean-
think it was random.
It was real. It was real. Real.
Was the random one?
Yeah, it was
Just
Yeah, it
real.
was a random one.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it was
Yep.
It
random
was a
one.
random one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Cool
Yeah,
calendar.
so
Is it
Yeah.
still 4 points for DSQ?
4 points for the VSU. Yes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 4 points for the SQ.
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct. Yep, yep.
Can we go back to old F1 points?
Sure.
No, I think
now,
we'll keep the MotoGP
Right, yep,
system.
yep.
I like the 1, 2,
Oh.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 one.
Mm.
I mean, I remember in like season 4 we had like for top 15 it was just 1 to 15, so everyone got a point, but there was no real big difference. But yeah, we still keep the MotoGP system.
I refuse.
Okay. Does anyone have any more questions before we close?
Can I force all the Div 2 drivers to have different driver numbers?
Do you have
28 is
your...
mine, fuck you all.
Wait, Maverick.
We can do that.
We
during
were gonna
sign-up.
do that. One question, right? I kind of
Yep.
forgot about this. Were we gonna do that D2 as like the other way around that they do Azerbaijan first?
Yeah, that is a good point as well. Yep, I forgot to mention
Yes,
that.
yes.
So the calendar you see here will be flipped for D2. So week 1 will be Azerbaijan, then
Oh
Great
my
Britain.
god.
Week 2 will be France, then Canada, etc., etc. So the first night will be Azerbaijan, D2, then followed by D1 Great Britain. So what you've got here is the D1 calendar. Okay, so just bear
Yeah.
that in mind, because that was
That's
something
cool.
that came up last season. Yeah, people were a little bit fed up if they were a reserve driver, doing 50% Great Britain and then 50% Great Britain. So yeah, we flipped it around.
We just have like a completely different different Div 2 calendar.
Ban Crimson.
That's not what we do.
Crimson, good idea, ban. Unacceptable.
Yeah, exactly. Unacceptable. Imagine having good ideas here. Yeah, I think there was one more point. Yes, there was something Snacking brought up about the way the DSQ works under DNF. That is something we're going to look at before the start of the season, and we'll update you all before that. Because yeah, there's potentially a window where players could play the system a little bit. So we want to close that loophole. So that players, if you get a DSQ, it is a punishment. That is the intention of the DSQ, and you shouldn't be able to just play the game and not be hurt by a DSQ. Ultimately, the best idea is that no one gets a DSQ, no one gets any penalty points, and we all love each other by the end of the season. But
Ouch.
yeah, that is unlikely. So yeah, so there is potentially a little bit of an update on how DSQs will be applied. Any other questions, anyone?
No.
Are still allowed to force driver numbers?
If yeah, once we do the sign-ups, we can chat to each D2 driver about that.
Yes.
If there is anyone that can't think of a question right now, but has a question further down the line, feel free to
Turn off.
message anyone at all. within the FIA, except Crimson. Don't message Crimson because he's useless.
Yeah, don't message.
Yeah. Feel free to message your friendly FIA members, and we'll get your question answered. It doesn't have to be in the meeting here. So yep. If that is all from everyone, driver signups will open in a few minutes. But I know that Jesty has a race lined up for everyone. So yeah, Jesty, do you want to talk about then the details of that?
I mean, there's nothing to talk
It's just
about.
short quality,
because it's just 50% race.
Yep, no
with
problem.
Short quality, so
Cool beans.
just like a real race.
So anyone that wants to do is the lobby open now?
Yeah.
Yes. it
Yeah.
is.
Okay. So
Racetrack, is
if
it?
you want to do, yeah, keep going.
Mexico.
Mexico,
Which game?
excellent.
Which game? Which game?
2020.
Cool beans. So if you want to do the race tonight, join on Jesty. Let's have a nice
Yes.
fun race.
Who's that?
The very, very cool guy that is Jesty.
Yes.
So
Yes, man.
yep. Do that. We'll have the driver lineups will be open shortly.